Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Today I'm going to be working on these Ficus elastica or Indian rubber trees. I have three plantings. I have a small clump style, I have a larger forest here, and I have a sort of medium-sized clump style planting. So today I'm going to be pruning them up and repotting some. Here is a look at the forest. So it's getting very tall and the new growth is quite straight on it without any taper or movement, so it'll have to get pruned back. There's a look at the trunk arrangement. I'm still happy with the arrangement of the forest. I would like to kind of prune the overall profile into more of a rounded triangular shape, so shorter on the sides and taller in the middle. But overall I think the height is getting way too big. It takes up a lot of space in the plant room in the winter and blocks a lot of light getting to the other plants. So I'm going to reduce it today, and I think that'll help too. Right now the trunks look pretty skinny on it, so I think a reduction in height will help that, kind of pruning the overall forest back. And it'll take some hard pruning. I'll have to go back into the old wood and just rely on it back budding from the trunks, and we'll see what happens. I'm going to begin the pruning now. So I need to establish how big I want this forest. My tallest point in the forest, and then I'll reduce the outside trees back quite hard. So I'm looking at the main tree in the forest. That'll kind of determine the height, the overall height. So I do have some branching at this level. I have a branch out the front and then a back trunk that divides into two again up here. So I'm going to be pruning it back, and I've got to decide, well, what do I want to lose? Do I want to lose this division up here? I think so. I think it's just getting too tall. So I imagine an overall height. I'm trying to picture the thickness of the trunk. I think I'd keep this division here. So pruning it hard back to about this level, and then I'll adjust all the other trees according to this. So this will be the tallest tree in the forest, and the others will have to get smaller. Alright, here I go. I'm going to be using my ironwood ratcheting pruners to cut through the wood. So on this trunk line here, I'm going to be losing my division up top. I think it's just getting too tall. So I think I'm going to go right back to here. So here I go, a big cut coming up. I'm just going to prune it flat. It's done. So there's what I took off. And these root really easily from cuttings, but I have enough Ficus elastica that I don't need to make cuttings. And you can see it's oozing sap out of the wounds, so that will seal up the cut. You don't need to put cut paste on it. They're kind of self-sealing. And if you have a latex allergy, don't let this touch your skin. So the next branch I want to prune is this one. It had a division here, but the one died off. I don't think it was getting any light, so I'm going to do a fairly hard prune on this one too, taking it back to here. So here I go. Cutting the whole top off that. And then I've got a back branch here. It also had a division, but that died off from lack of light. So I'm going to prune that off quite short back to here. So here I go. Done. On this trunk, I've got a branch that kind of grows in towards the center of the tree. I'm going to prune that away. I don't want any branches kind of growing in. I want them all fanning and flowing outwards. So I will cut that one off. Totally. So here I go. Done. And then this branch, I do have a division that's starting to leaf out here. So I'm just going to prune this one back to there. So that's got the main tree pruned up. I think that's good. I'll grow this branch as the main trunk line coming out front and keep these ones a bit smaller as more back branches. So that's got my overall height established in the forest, and now I want to round the silhouette from the highest point down to the edges. So the next tree will be this one. So I want it shorter than this tree. And it's quite straight, this section. So I'm wondering how short should I go. I think for now I have a leaf scar facing outwards here, so I'll prune above that. So here I go. Taking the whole top off. There's a little branch down below here I'm going to prune just the tip off. Like that. The next one in my profile is this tree here. So I'll want this, the shortest one on the outside. I've got a leaf scar facing outwards here, so I'll prune just above that. Taking the top off. Then this back one, it should be a little shorter than this one. So I will prune it back to I'm going to have to come back fairly hard. I'll keep this branch division here, so I'll prune this one here and this one back to here. That's a little high. Maybe even further back to here. Taking that off. Now, is that still too high? I think that's okay. This tree at the back here, it needs to be shorter than the main tree. I have some good branches fanning out the back, so I'll keep those. I will just shorten them quite a bit. I think I'll go back to here at least. And I may adjust the heights a little more once I have finished the pruning today. This one, I can take it back to here. And the one coming out the front, I will take it back to, I'm going to take it back quite hard to here. Put it back to here. Like that. So I have two trees left. My outside tree here, I have a new shoot coming out down lower. So I think I'll just prune this one off here. I'll prune my growing tip on this back branch back to here. And this little one here, I'll prune back to here. That leaves me with this tree now. So the overall height should be somewhere about here, right where these branches are. So I think on this one I'm going to go quite hard with the pruning. Right back to here. Big cut. Here I go. That's gone. So there is my forest now. Wow, that's quite different. I'll show you a view of that. There's a look at the forest, and here is what I took off today. So a lot. Almost half the forest is gone. So let's have a look from the front view now. Here is a look at the forest now. So this is the right time of the year to do this severe operation. It's kind of early summer, so it's got the whole summer to recover and grow. The conditions are really good. It's hot and humid today. It's raining outside, so yeah, I'll spin it around. So here's the front, coming around to the right hand side, to the back, the left hand side, and back to the front. I'm going to let the sap on these wounds kind of gel over and harden up, and then I'll put the planting outside in the full sun, and it should get all kinds of new branches over the summer. So I'll give you an update when it's starting to leaf out once again. I'm going to work on my clump style rubber tree forest next. It's quite large, and rubber trees are large leaf plants, so my intention was always to grow this into a larger planting, but I have my little miniature clump style, and I really like that size, keeping it smaller, doing leaf pruning and pruning to keep the leaf size down. So I think I'm going to transition this from kind of a larger clump style down to something quite small. So I'll repot it into a smaller pot, and I'll reduce the height down quite severely on this planting, making it a smaller overall planting, and I think it'll make the trunks look thicker, keeping the height down. I think I'll be happier, and then I can always, slowly grow it larger in the future if I want to, but I think for today I'm going to reduce it back quite far. Here's a look at the clump style. So you can see they're all kind of fusing at the base. I have a long aerial root that grew out over the winter, and it's still growing. There's a lot of aerial roots coming off the tree. And yeah, I think it's getting quite large, and I think I'll be happier keeping it small. Kind of more like my little one here. Maybe not that small, but something a little smaller. So I'm going to reduce the height first, and then I'll repot it. On the main tree coming out the front of this clump style, I have a division down low, one fanning outwards and then one growing up vertically. So I was thinking of cutting off the vertical part and keeping the part that's fanning outwards. That would reduce the height down to here. It would give me some taper and a bit of movement in the planting. I want everything fanning outwards so it's graceful and flowing. So I'm going to start there. I'm going to cut off that vertical part of the trunk. So I don't know if I can reach in here with the ironwood pruners. Maybe from here, I guess I can. So I'll make an angle cut. That's about the best angle I can get. So here I go, big cut coming up. It is done, taking off that whole top. So now this tree is just this height, and it looks quite nice. Next, I have this tree, and I have a branch kind of fanning out here. It's not perfectly radial, but it's not too bad. So I think I will take off this tree, maybe, I think to that point. So here I go, another big cut. Taking that off there. So now from the front you can see that's also shortened. Then I have one here. I have a lower branch here. I could cut the top off there. So I think I will. Like that. It's looking good. And then on this one, I'm looking for leaf scars, something fanning outwards. I'm going to have to do a fairly hard prune on it. I have a leaf scar here. There's one here, one back here, So I think I'm going to take it off to here. So here I go. Taking the top off that trunk line. This one out the back, it fans out nicely. I'll prune it off here. And again, I may adjust the heights later on. This one is getting quite tall. I think I'm going to take it back to here. Quite short. And I'm thinking this one I may have to shorten it too. I think it's too tall. I'm going to take it back further. Like that. And then I have one growing up the middle, which I believe is a, no, it's not a branch. It was definitely a tree. And if it was straight up and down, I'd let it grow and thicken up, but it's on a weird angle. You can see from the back it kind of curves. I'll prune, let me see it from the front here. From the front it's kind of hidden by the main tree. I think I'm going to prune it off short, try and redirect it. So I'll prune it off short here, like that. And I should get something growing a little more vertical up the middle. Now on these branches up top, you can see this one's getting very long and straight, so I'll need to reduce that back. Like that. And this one, I've got leaf scars on the outside here, so I'll take it off to here. This one I can take back quite far to there. And this one, I'm just going to take the tip off, like that. So that's got this reduced to quite a short clump style now. Here is a look at the clump, quite a bit smaller, and here's what I took off. So yeah, a lot. So next I want to clean up these aerial roots a bit. I don't mind, you know, the direction's fairly good on some of them, but this one, this great big long one, needs to be pruned back or removed entirely. And some of these ones, like this one, comes from inside and it crosses everything, so I'll do a little root work. Okay, so this big thick one, it comes from in here. I'll have to prune it away. It's just too thick, so that comes off. This one grows right across the root base. It's got to come off also. And it's rooted into the ground there. This one's also growing across the root base. I'll take it out. This one on the inside can come out like that. This one can come off. The rest are quite nice and radial. Oh, except for this one. Yeah, the rest aren't too bad, so I'll leave that. So next comes the repotting. So I'll have to find a pot for it. Something smaller. I don't need a pot this large. I'll just prune some of these roots overhanging the edge off. Pull out that weed. Okay, so I'm going to find a pot for it now. When you're selecting a pot, you can't go wrong with matching the pot color with the color of the trunk. So you get the color of the pot, the green moss, the color of the trunks, and then the green canopy. The leaf color on these trees is quite green on top and sort of reddish under the bottom. So I think a pot this kind of chocolatey brown color would look good, or even one that's a little more reddish to match the leaf color. So I'll look around. This is a plastic training pot, so I'm going to find a smaller ceramic pot to put the trees in. I've picked out a pot for the tree, so I've got a ceramic oval pot that's fairly deep. I think it'll look quite nice in there, and I think it's a good size for it. So the next step is to get the clump style out of the pot and do the root work and then repot it. Kitty has snuck into the greenhouse here and is sleeping here. You don't want to be outside in the rain, do you? And he's trying to be as inconspicuous as possible. Just sort of blending in here so I don't notice him. But I see you. So outside it's still raining lightly. The trees are all looking good. I don't have to water them today, which is always nice. Around the benches I have all these raspberries growing, and it's really nice in the summer. Right about this time of the year, all the raspberries are ripening up, and I have tons of them around here. So it's really nice to munch on them on the hot days. Yeah, there's just all kinds of raspberries. I'm ready for repotting now. So I will get the trees out of the pot. Came out quite easily. Take the pot away and I'll start combing out the roots. All right, I've got my root hook, and I'll just start gently seeing what's in here. I don't think it'll be pot bound. I think it just likes to grow roots on the surface. So this planting was outside, and even though it was outside and I watered it last night, the soil is very dry, which is good for repotting, but it leads me to believe I should have maybe watered it more. But it's maybe a little too dry. Now these Ficus elastica, they can take drier soil. If you keep them too wet, the roots will rot and the tree will die. So they're kind of, for a ficus, I would keep them on the drier side rather than the wetter side. And especially after, cutting off all the leaves, I will have to keep the soil moist. I don't want it, sitting in wet soil with no leaves, or you will get root rot. And once the leaves start growing again, you can water them a little more. So I'm just trying to untangle some of these roots as I go. There's a thick one there. Now, let's have a look underneath. Lots of roots on the bottom, so let me try getting my drainage screen out. I don't know if this is a one-piece drainage screen in the bottom or not. I think it is. It's a big drainage screen. So I may have to cut away some of the roots to get it out. They've grown through the drainage screen and out the bottom. Okay. The drainage screen is out. Yeah. So I will continue combing the roots out, removing all the old soil, and I'll be bare rooting it and doing the root pruning. Ficus do not mind being bare rooted at all. In fact, they grow better after a root pruning and sorting the roots out usually. Yeah, I've got one big thick root there that'll have to get pruned away. There's a lot of roots that aren't going in a radial direction. Okay, I'm ready to wash the root system now. I won't show that because it's raining out, so I'll be back with it all washed up and all the old soil removed. Here's a look at the root system now. So it's quite good. But there is a lot of correction I need to do on it. There's a lot of thick roots, roots that aren't going radial, crossing roots. Yeah, it'll be, there's lots to work with and sort out, that's for sure. I'm going to start the root work now. So my first step, I'm going to remove this big thick one. That's kind of, it doesn't flow down into the soil. It kind of goes up and parallel with the soil surface. So I'm going to remove that entirely, like that. You can see part of this root is growing back into the root base. So I'll try and pull it out if I can. There. So that root comes off. I have a root here that starts from the inside and crosses everything. I don't want that, so I'll take that one out. I want to see my radial roots on the surface here. So I think I need to do a little more combing now. And I may have to rewash these once I get them sorted out a bit. Okay, so there's a root here. Here's radial, and it's cranked over. There is a bit more of a radial part here, so I'll prune off this section like that. Ooh, I just exposed a big bulbous root underneath that. Let me just get these roots out of here. Yeah, there's a big bulbous root here. That is getting quite large. So there's part of it growing up here. I'm going to take that off. Like that. There's one growing on the top here I can remove. So it is nice and radial. It's just very thick. And you can see it divides. It's been pruned here before. There's a division, and this is getting quite thick too. I'm just looking to see if I have some finer roots coming off of it. I think I do. I have out the front, so I can remove this part entirely. So that is gone. And then there's a part growing straight down here that I'm going to shorten. Move this one, taking that section of the root system out. Yeah, I may have to cut that right back. Keeping the flare, it's a good flare and good direction, that root. It's just, it's too long. And it's stubby, long. It's not fine. So I think I'll have to take it right back. Just keeping the base of it. So here I go. Quite a big cut. Might have to get in a little deeper. There. Yeah, so that's cut off. Keeping, the good part of the root that flows. And then I may divide that root also. So instead of having one thick root there, I can cut a section out the middle. Dividing that root into two. So now you can see it doesn't look like a big bulbous root here. Once these start to grow, they'll flow quite nicely and be in scale with the planting. Next, there's a root here that also is too horizontal. It doesn't flow down into the soil, so that has to come off. Like that. I think I cut all the way through it. I'll clean that up with a knob cutter. Like that. So I always try and attack, you know, the biggest problem areas first. So kind of got rid of a few big problems there. So my next problem is this root. Here's radial, and it's off a bit. It's not too thick, this root, but it is getting quite thick. And I do have some finer roots up top, so I'm going to cut it off very short. Kind of removing that. There's a root here growing from the inside that's crossing all the other roots that I'll take out. So that one's gone. This root here's radial, and it's cranked over, so that one has to come off, and it's too horizontal. So that one's being removed. Let me do a little more combing here. There's the remains of a thick root here. I'm going to remove that. This root is too high. It doesn't flow down into the soil. I'll remove that one. Even these roots, they're nice, but they're a little high compared to the root base, so they're going to have to come off. Even this one, and this one. Okay, I think, oh, there's the remains of a drainage screen in the bottom. I'm going to cut that away. Just taking a slice off the bottom here. Like that. Reduce some more of these roots on the bottom. And then I think I need to rewash the root system. There's still a lot of soil in here. So I'll be right back. I've got the root base cleaned up once again, and I got a lot more soil out. So I can see there's a clump of roots on the bottom that I think could be reduced. I envision my soil line to be somewhere about here, I think. So I can definitely reduce the bottom of this. Somewhat anyway, so I'll do that. I'll just take back these roots sticking down a bit more. Not, you know, taking everything off, but reducing it for sure. At least back to kind of the base of some of these trunks. I think that's about as far as I want to go. If I go any further, I'm getting into some pretty heavy-duty trunks, and I'll open up large wounds on the bottom. So I think that is good for reducing it off the bottom, the roots. So next, let's go back up top here and address some more issues. So I want everything flowing down into the soil. There's one here that's too horizontal. It's getting quite thick also. So I need to take that off. I don't think there's anything attached to it that's very good. These aren't radial, so they're coming off. Yeah. So I'll cut it, and then I'll clean that up with the rounded cutters. So I will come in and Something like that. I think that's better. It's a little more flowing. Now, there's a root here that's not radial and it's sticking up too high, so I'll get rid of that. This root here is radial, it's cranked over, and I have a root that's more radial coming off, so I'll take it back. Take that non-radial part off, like that. This one is too horizontal here, it's got to come off. Get that root out of there first. I've got some roots here coming in between, but I think they're okay. This one's too horizontal. This root's sticking up. And these roots are sticking up. I'm having a tough time cutting these roots with these scissors. I'm going to use a different pair. I'm going to use my little sewing scissors. Yeah, this root's going a strange direction. That one's going to come out. This root's being removed. One back shorter. Okay, I think it's time to do a bit of a profile prune now, so I'm going to cut off all these longer roots shorter. It's looking better. Now, I think I'm getting close. I need to do a sort of a final inspection and combing, making sure all my roots are flowing into the soil. There's no really thick ones compared to the others. There's a crossing root here I can take out. The part off there, the non-radial part here. Prune this one back. This one's a bit thick. Prune it back. This one's okay, I guess. This one's starting to stick up. I'll prune it back. Some of these roots that are sticking up a bit far. The goal is to slowly raise this up so you expose more roots in future. So you want everything flowing down into the soil. Otherwise it looks strange when you raise it. This one's too high. Now I think I can clean up that wound a bit more here. It's sticking up a bit too high. Like that, that's better. It flows nicely now. I'm going to take this one out. I think that's it. I think that's got the root base reduced quite nicely. Yeah, that is it. So I'll clean up and I'll show you a close-up of the roots. Here is a look at the root base now. So it's not perfect, but it's improved, and that's all you can do. I've done as much as I can, you know, with this repotting. And as these roots develop, there'll be more root work coming, but it's pretty good now. Everything's flowing down into the soil. Everything's radial. The root system's balanced, so there's not big thick roots. They're all fairly fine. So next is to pot up the tree. I've got my drainage screens in the pot, so next I need to determine how high I'm going to plant this. So I think about that height. So I need a base layer of soil about this deep. So I'll get that in the pot. Okay. And I'm reusing soil here. Trying to use up all my old soil. So a little more soil than that. So I've got a mound slightly offset, so now I will position the tree, and I think because the thickest trunk is on the right hand side, I think I'll want it offset in the pot slightly. Let's see, let's go down, have a look at it. So where does it look best? So I can rotate this around too. To find the front here, I'm just having a look. Definitely not there. Here is quite good. You can see that trunk in between these two trunks. Whereas if I rotate it this way, it's hidden. So I think I'll do that. I think I'll have that central trunk between these two. So that'll be the front. And then as far as position in the pot, pretty well on center, but I'll offset it to the right hand side slightly. Just because the thicker trunk is over this side, it'll kind of balance the composition. And I'll rotate it around until I get the right height in the pot. So I want these roots I've cut into the soil. Not too deeply, but not exposed. And I need to bring it back in the pot a bit so it's not quite on center. Like that. And the angle's quite good there. Position side to side is quite good. I think that is about it. Yeah. Maybe just rotate it slightly. Like that. Okay, I think that's about it. I think that's as good as it'll look in the pot. So next I'll sort out the roots and then fill it in with soil. So I'm just, doing a final comb out of the roots, making sure they're as radial as possible before I fill it in. And I can always mound the soil up a bit, and then as the roots start growing and get established, I can rake it away a bit, exposing the surface roots more. Okay, let's have a look at the planting before I water it. Here is a look at my Ficus elastica clump now. So this is the front. I'll rotate it around. I'm happy with the planting position, the angle, the position in the pot. I think it looks good. And I like the pot with it. I think it suits it quite well. So here is the right hand side, the back, the left hand side, and back to the front. Yeah, it'll be exciting once it starts leafing out again. So the next step is to give the tree a good watering. Okay, here I go. It's first watering in the new pot. My ficus planting here, I could put it straight outside on the bench in full sun. It's warm and humid and I've got the whole summer to grow it.
Or I can put it in the greenhouse here until it starts leafing out. There's not much advantage of having it in the greenhouse here, other than if we get cool nights, I can turn the heat on in the greenhouse and keep it kind of around room temperature, rather than some of the nights we've gotten are quite cool. So I'll leave it in the greenhouse until it starts leafing out, and then it'll go outside on the bench. The last Ficus elastica group I'll work on today is this clump style Ficus elastica. It's a slightly different color species. This one has more of a olive green leaf. The other ones are a little more purpley. You can get a lot of different varieties of colors in these Ficus elastica. You can even get variegated ones. So just pick one that you like. So today I'm just going to be pruning this one up. It's starting to get a little big. It's getting a lot of vigor. You can see all the new leaves are growing in, and it's, yeah, getting a little large for the size of the planting. So I'm going to prune it back. Here is a look at the Ficus elastica. You can't really see much of it with these leaves hanging down, but there it is. So it's starting to look quite good. It's gaining a lot of vigor. The leaves are starting to get very large, the new leaves that are growing in. So I need to prune it back, knock the vigor back a bit, get smaller leaves on it. And it's also getting quite high for the size of the planting. So I may have to do some quite hard pruning on it today. I'm going to begin the pruning now. So this leaf here, there was a bud at the base of that leaf, and I pruned it back, and the bud developed into a branch. So I don't need this older leaf anymore, so I'll prune that away. That'll help see the trunk line. And then on this new growth, you can see I have a branch fanning out the front, or not a branch, a leaf. And there's one more vertical, so I could at least take it back to here, cutting it back. So I should get a branch growing from the bud at the base of this leaf out the front, and a vertical one. I can clean this stub up here, like that. There's another stub in there or something. There's another older leaf here that I do have the option of pruning this trunk line right back to that leaf. That might be a good idea, because it does fan outwards, and I have a branch out the back that's fanning outwards. I think I will. I'm going to take it right back. Like that. Keeping it fairly short if possible. On this branch here, I have a leaf fanning out the front, so I can take this one back to there. Taking the top off. The trunk line, this is the main tree, the thickest tree in the planting. This branch kind of comes out the front, and this trunk line out the back is thicker. There's nothing wrong with that, but it gives me the opportunity that I could prune the trunk line right back and make this the trunk leader. It would give me a lot of taper here, and I do like the fact this comes out the front. So I think I will do that. It's a good opportunity to shorten the tree, get taper, and the direction is better than the trunk line now. So that involves a big cut. So here I go. I think I'll have to use the ratcheting pruners for this. Try and make a nice precise cut if possible. So here I go. Oh my goodness. I can't get in at a good angle, so I'll have to rough cut it first. So here I go. If I don't do this, it's going to get taller in the future. Wow. So that looks pretty good, I think. It's kind of reduced. You can see the taper now, which looks good. Taper on a small tree like this is always a good thing, especially on a ficus. If it was something, a more graceful tree, like a maple, you don't want the severe trunk taper. They look fat and grotesque, but On a ficus, that's kind of how they grow in nature. So I'm going to take this back, nibble it back so it's a smoother transition. And I think that's good. It's good transition. It's not bleeding a whole lot, so I'll seal it with rubber cement. Make sure that's waterproof and it doesn't rot away. Next is the tree out the back. I think it's looking good. I think it just needs pruning, a fairly major pruning. So I'm looking for leaf scars. There's one out the back here, so I'll take this back to here. Quite a cut. And this one, I had something growing up here. A leaf scar here. There's a leaf here that has a bud at the base. I think I'll take it back to here. Like that. There's an old leaf here. You can see this branch has developed from the bud at the base of this one, so I'll take that away. And that might be it for the pruning today. Quite a pruning on this little Ficus elastica. Yeah. So there's what it looks like. Let me. Yeah, it's kind of too bad this. There is a bud coming out here, which is nice. I'm wondering if I should prune that leaf off. I think I will. I think I'm going to defoliate it, just to knock some of this vigor back a bit. I'll leave this one. Although, no, I won't. Let's take it right back. So I'll rotate the tree around so you can see it from all angles now. Here's the front of the tree. And I'm rotating around to the right-hand side. The back. The left-hand side. And back to the front. So the main thicker tree is a little shorter than this one, but because it is thick and vigorous, it should catch up quickly. It should have more vigor, push out more growth, stronger growth. So I think it'll catch up in height quite quickly. So the last thing I want to do is just remove that root that's coming out the drainage hole. Okay, so underneath here, there's the root. And if that thickens up, it'll actually clog the drainage hole, and you don't want that. So there it is. It is pruned up and ready to grow once again. Here's what I pruned off this little tree today. A lot. Holy, that'd make a good cutting. Yeah, so here's the tree. I can see in the future I have a bit of a thick root here, so it could take a bit of root work in the future. But yeah, but it's a nice little tree. I really enjoy them as a bonsai. I've got all three of my Ficus elastica plantings here in the corner of the greenhouse, the forest, the larger clump style, and the little one down here. So yeah, it usually takes 3 to 4 weeks before it starts leafing out again, which will bring us kind of midsummer. So it'll be exciting, and I'll keep you updated on their progress. Ficus elastica, or the rubber tree, grows into a giant tree in nature with a buttressed trunk and aerial roots and a big rounded canopy. They're fantastic trees, one of my favorites. And as a bonsai, they're a little more difficult. They get large leaves, and the growth isn't very fine on them. It's fairly coarse, and it's hard to get branching, but I think they have the potential to create something really nice. And I'll keep working on my Ficus elastica. You can tell I like them because I have 3 plantings of them, and I thought about giving them away, but I just don't have the heart because I like them so much. So I'll keep working on them into the future, and see what I can develop out of these two clump styles in a forest. And that's all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.